Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Aretha. Today, I want to talk about the importance of self complexity and why we need to diversify our sense of identity. The concept of self complexity was first introduced in the mid 1980s by this wonderful person. Her name is Patricia Linville. She is an associate professor at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University. Her self complexity model has two components. First, self complexity is about all the distinct and important ways that we see ourselves. These are called our self aspects. So think about someone who works as a finance manager, but also plays volleyball in an amateur league, and maybe they write music in their spare time, and they also identify as a pet owner and an avid dog lover. All of these pieces of identity are their self aspects. The second component of the model is how independent these self aspects are from one another. The more self aspects you have, and the more distinct they are from each other, the higher your level of self complexity. And that's what we want. A high level of self complexity makes us more resilient in the face of change, better equipped to deal with stress, and it increases our chances to be successful and be happy. So think about someone who completely identifies with their job. They spend all their time on work-related things, only talk about work, and mostly hang out with people associated with their work. What happens when this person loses their job or retires? Their sense of identity can be completely shattered. And this is not only work-related, it can be true of any one of our identities. Think about an athlete who lives and breathes their sport. What happens when they have to stop for whatever reason? What happens when they get injured and can no longer play the sport? And what about someone who gets completely consumed by a new relationship? Suddenly, they give up their hobbies, they stop hanging out with their friends. They basically lose themselves in that identity of being half of this couple. The problem is that when we put all our identity eggs in the same basket, we risk losing everything all at once. That is a major reason why we have to diversify our sense of self. We cannot let a single aspect of our identity define our entire life. Now, this is something that may make sense intuitively, but it's really nice to see that there's research to back it up. In fact, the research found that people with a high level of self-complexity handle stress better and are less prone to depression and anxiety. Because when you have a complex sense of identity, if let's say 10% of your sense of self gets threatened, you have 90% of your identity to fall back on. The research even shows that a high level of self-complexity also reduces risks of physical illnesses that can come with stress. Illnesses like the flu or upper respiratory infections. So having a diversified sense of self makes us healthier both mentally and physically. So how can we cultivate self-complexity? I'll briefly share 5 ways here, but I've written a pretty detailed article about this. I'll include the link in the description box. Now let's dive into those 5 ideas. The first one is to actively explore your sense of self. Get to know the different parts of your identity. The second idea is to get comfortable with contradictions. As you complete an inventory of your self aspects, you may find that there are nuances in how you present yourself in different environments. Don't try to simplify or rationalize your complexity. Instead, learn to appreciate your own ambiguity. It's a strength. The third idea is to make time for your hobbies. And that one is pretty straightforward. We tend to think that our hobbies are not as important as the things we get paid to do. But our mental and physical health depend on us making time for our hobbies. They are a big piece of how we diversify our identity. The fourth idea is to diversify your social circles. Let different people know different aspects of your identity. If you belong to a church, the people from your church will know you differently than your work friends. The people in your Zumba class will know yet a different part of you. And so will the friends you play board games with. And the fifth idea is to always keep your options open. That means try new things and broaden your horizons. Reinvent yourself as you go. Don't set arbitrary limits for yourself. If you haven't tried something yet and you're interested in it, don't just dismiss it or decide that it's not for you. So those are the 5 quick ideas I wanted to share. I've included the link to the detailed article in the description box. When I started reading about self-complexity, it seemed really aligned with something else I talked about on this channel. The idea that we are all complex systems made up of multiple components that interact with each other to create a meaningful experience. If you haven't watched that video, I recommend you check it out too. So now it's your turn. Did you know about the concept of self-complexity before watching this video? And how do you see it play out in your own life? If you like this content, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.